Hi everyone, today we're going to review Takanuva. Set number 8596 was originally released in 2003 and contains 199 pieces. Takanuva is the legendary 7th Toa, the Toa of Light, who is said to bring light to the shadows and awaken Mata Nui. He was originally a Matoran named Takua, where after going on a grand adventure with his friend Jala to seek out the 7th Toa, he eventually donned the Mask of Light himself and became the Toa we see now. Takanuva would then use his Usanui to travel to Mangaya, where he would fight Makuta in a Koli match. He would come out victorious and allowed all the Matoran to return back to Metra Nui. While Metra Nui was being rebuilt, the Toa Nuva would leave on a mission to Voya Nui to retrieve the Mask of Life. Takanuva was requested to stay to protect the Matoran. Though, after Jala discovered the Turaga were keeping more secrets from them, gathered Takanuva and a few other Matoran to go aid the Toa Nuva. Though Takanuva was separated from the Matoran outside the realm of Karzani, as a barrier prevented all light to pass. He would say goodbye to his friends as they continued into Karzani, and Takanuva returned to Metra Nui. Takanuva would continue to guard Metra Nui until he would be attacked by a Shadow Leech, then was sent to Karda Nui to aid the Toa Nuva. Some of the most famous appearances of Takanuva are in a handful of novels, comics, serials, games, and probably the biggest of these was Bionicle, The Mask of Light, the movie, where we see Takua's journey with Jala and his transformation into the 7th Toa. Lastly, in the movie, Takanuva was voiced by Jason Mikas.
I am Takanuva, Toa of Light.
Taking a look at the set, we're going to start by looking at the figure itself, then we'll take a look at the vehicle. So, the figure of Takanuva is a very standard one, following the Mata build with Nuva armor, which we have seen before, utilizing a Mata torso and the Toa Nuva limbs at all his appendages, all in white. He's also adorned with dark gold armor on his chest and shoulders, which match his mask. Takanuva wears the Great Kanohi of Voki, the Mask of Light, which grants the wearer the ability to emit, absorb, and manipulate light. There's also a handful of other things the mask can do, but I'm not really going to dive into that here. The mask attaches via an axle to the head, which is different from most masks we have seen up to this point, as they would connect via a stud, so this is a lot more solid. Alright, for articulation, Takanuva has nothing at the head. Let me move up and focus. Takanuva has nothing at the head whatsoever. It is locked by an axle. That is a standard Mata Nuva build. You get a ball joint at the shoulder, so you can get all the movement you want. Forward that much, back that much. Both arms on Takanuva are freely able to move because one is on a pin, so it can go all the way around, and the other is on a gear, so it can also go all the way around. And at the hand, you have another ball joint, so you can rotate it all you want, and hinge, curl, whatever. And then at the hips, you have another ball joint. The socket is oriented sideways, so you can only go forward that much, back that much, and then you can go out that much. And then you get your rotation. At the foot, you also have a ball joint. Tilt that much, forward that much, down that much, and you get a full rotation. And both arms and legs are identical except for at the shoulders where the gear and the pin are. So yeah, it's a very basic articulation, but that is a Mata Nuva build. Takanuva also comes with one weapon, that being his Staff of Light, which is just this Staff of Light piece on an axle that is mounted in his hand. This weapon can also be stored on Takanuva by simply plugging it into the pin on his back. Lastly, Takanuva has a single function. By turning him around, we find a gear, and by turning it, you will swing the arm up and down. So that's Takanuva. Now let's move on to the Usanui. So here we have the Usanui, Takanuva's personal transport. And it looks interesting. The majority of the build is comprised of Technic parts at the core, and then it's decorated with Bionicle parts, including Bow-Rock shields and Rockshi backplates. At the front, there are some Kodan claws and some ribbed hoses that attach in various places. Underneath one of these Bow-Rock shields, there is actually another mask, that being a dark gray Hal, which is supposed to represent Jala's Hal after his death. And at the back of the vehicle, there is seating for one passenger. Now, the Usanui comes with a number of functions. The first of which is that all of these Rockshi backplates are fully accessible and able to be utilized, which allows you to house a total of 6 Krata inside, 3 up front and 3 toward the back. The second function, of course, is the ability for Takanuva to ride the vehicle. So to get Takanuva mounted on the Usanui, we need to first take his spear out of his hand, then you're going to flip him around and you're just going to plug it onto his back right there, just like that, and it'll just sit like that. It is a pin without friction ridges, so it will flop around. Anyway, then from here we're going to take Takanuva again, another modification, and then you're going to pull off the head with the head and the brain stock, and then you'll see there's a bush here on the axle that holds on the neck. This is so then the head doesn't go too far down. So you're going to orient it from this to this. So now it's going to mount like that. So it looks like he's flying through the air, which is the idea you want. Then you're going to take your Usanui and let me focus here. And there's actually a lift arm right here. You're going to stuff that into Takanuva's crotch. Pardon me. So you're just going to plug that in like there. Just like that, and it just sits in there like so. Then from here, you're going to bring the arms. You're going to adjust the arms so the shoulder pads are up, while making sure the lift arm is in the crotch. Sounds worse than it actually is. Make sure the shoulder pads are adjusted. Then there's these 2 pins on his hands. They're going to plug into these Bow-Rock shields right here. So, you'll have to rotate the arm so then it is in this orientation, because the curve of the arm kind of hugs the side of the Usanui. And then you just plug it in, like so. Just like that. Just like that. Then you do that on the other side, just like so. And just like that, Takanuva is riding the Usanui. Looks pretty good, and he fits very well on here. It's the Usanui was really well designed for the Nuva build. So yeah, there we go. That is Takanuva riding the Usanui. So yeah. And the final function of the Usanui is its retractable landing gear. This function spans across the whole vehicle and is activated at the front. Here we see a red lift arm, which is how you activate the function. By pushing this lift arm down, it rotates a bunch of stuff on the underbelly of the vehicle, and the landing gear folds into flight position. By pulling the lift arm back, the landing gear will spring back outward into its landing position. And the last thing you get with this set is this translucent clear Evoke, and it has a gloss with glitter inside it, which is painted all over the front. And this is supposed to represent the Evoke when Takanuva is using its light powers. And it looks pretty good. So let's see what it looks like on Takanuva. And just plug it on like that. And that looks pretty good. So yeah. There's that. In terms of issues with this set, I really don't have any with the figure. Takanuva's a solid figure, a little repetitive, but nothing major. On the other hand, the Usanui is also good. It's a little weird, and the hoses at the front are prone to shearing off at the ends if they get stiff. Lastly, I worry about the glittery gloss that's on the second Evoke, as scratching it may take off that gloss that makes it look so good. Other than that, this set is great. Alright, size-wise, Takanuva comes in at about 18 centimeters or 7 inches. And then the Usanui comes in at about 10 centimeters or 4 inches. And then from the front to the back landing gear, it is about 33 centimeters or 13 inches. Size comparison wise, here he is next to a Mata, and this comparison is still valid because the Nuva legs are actually longer than the Mata legs, so the Nuva builds are slightly taller. Here it is next to a Metru, and here it is next to an Anika. So yeah. Here is Takanuva next to a Tohunga. Here's Takanuva next to an 03 Matoran. Here's Takanuva next to a Rakshi. And then, just because why not, here's Takanuva next to an Av Matoran build. So that's the 7th Toa, Takanuva, and his Usanui. Overall, the set is good. You get an exclusive figure, an exclusive mask, and a pretty well-designed vehicle. It's fun, simple, and there's a lot of enjoyment to be had here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date with all my latest videos. And don't forget to check out my DeviantArt and Flickr pages. And with that, I'm Legend, and I will see you all next time.